Hello everyone, good afternoon to all my respected teachers and my dear friends. I hope you all are fine in this scenario of COVID-19 and I hope you all are safe and healthy. So good afternoon to all, and today myself Diksha I am going to give you the presentation on the topic Access Control System. So I will discuss the different contents regarding the access control system in this PowerPoint presentation in the further slides. So let us start and discuss about the whole concept in the further concept. So this is all the contents that I have discussed in this PowerPoint presentation. The various contents are what is access, definition of access control system, working and their types and their procedure, devices, attacks and references and conclusion. So let us begin with the concept. First of all, while moving to the access control, first of all we should know that what is access. Access means any opportunity to approach to enter a place. It means that anything like any approach that we have to use to enter any place, like any premises or any building. So let us move to our main concept, that is access control definition. Access control is the heart of information security. Access control is a security system that enables an authority or business to control access at specific date and time in certain areas like building, residence, and with the help of available technologies. For example, suppose we take an example like we want to access one door, like we have to keep a guard in the form of technology, like we are using electronic door at homes, and with the help of biometric or with the help of smart cards I assess with that lock, and that is what related to the access control system. Like with the help of advanced technologies we are assessing the different technologies, we are using different technologies with the help of that. Right. Further, we will move with the concept of access control system. Access control system stands for CAI, that is C for confidentiality, I for integrity, A for availability. It helps us to given the threats, vulnerabilities, and risks infrastructure. All these three are the main goals of the control system. So if we want to address any security measure, at least one goal should be there, because goal should be important, because CIA is a concept. C means confidentiality, because it helps us to protect the data. I is integrity, because it helps us to preserve the data. Availability promotes the availability of data. So these all three are the main goals. So while using the security measure, at least one should be important. After that, this is all about how access control works. This is the main criteria that how access control works, how we can assess them. Access control system are the electronic system that are designed to control through a network, and they should have an access to a network. Like they are designed to control a network and they are having the access. We can recognize, authenticates and authorized entry of the person to enter into the premises. As I have given example earlier also, that last slide, that main protection to control the access control is like if we want to enter any premises, at that time access control system is used. Basically it is kind of a safeguard, like it is kind of a technologically guard. We can say that if we want to secure our building, we can secure with the help of advanced technologies. So let's move further. After that, these all are about the access control procedure. There are many different steps. Number 1 is identification, number 2 is authentication, number 3 is authorization, and with the help of research, the fourth one is accountability. All these steps are totally described. All these steps are explained in the description in the following slides. So let us see. Number 1 is identification. So what is identification? As we listen the name identification, it means identity, to know something about the user. So this is a method of establishing the subject identity, user, program, process, use of username or any other public information. So while using the identification, there are some components. Number 1 is their value should be unique. For example, we can take the example of ATM machine. Suppose I am going to the ATM machine and I want to access my ATM. At that time, there is one pin that we have to use there. So that pin should be unique, so that nobody can withdraw our amount from our ATM. So that pin is a unique. So number 1 component is that your value should be unique, and number 2 is standard naming scheme should be there, and number 3 is non-descriptive of the user positions or tasks, and must not share between the users. As our pin we don't share with anyone. So number 2 is authentication. Authentication means method to prove the identity. Like whatever the pin we are using the ATM, that they want to prove that identity is proof that identity is true or not. To prove an identity, we should something means something you know, something you have, something you are, like different passwords, token, biometrics, other private informations are used. Number 3 is authorization. What is authorization? Here authorization means the act of checking to see if a user has the proper position to access a particular file. It means like whatever the proper files we are accessing, like we are having the proper permission to access that or not. The user has successfully authenticated himself. So this is all about authorization. So let's move further. That something you know, as I have discussed earlier in case of identification, that something you know means traditional authentication methods are there for the earlier. Now passwords we know, different conjugative passwords, one-time passwords, passphrases. These all are different types of passwords that I will discuss in the further slides. So cognitive passwords, these are words, these are fact or opinion based informations created through several experience based questions. They are very easy to remember. Suppose example we will take, we want to log in with any account, like first of all we have to sign up for that account, like any account like Facebook, Twitter or anything. At that case we use the passwords, and that passwords are basically a cognitive passwords that we use so that passwords are kind of what we enter passwords like birthplace, favorite color, dog name, or we can enter our childhood name. So these are very easy to remember. Number 2 are one-time passwords. This one-time password we all knows. This is basically also called OTP. They are used only once. Suppose I want to log in one page for the Facebook. First of all, I have to sign up and I have to put all the details at that time when OTP occurs on my phone, and that is basically a one-time password that is used in sensitive cases and places. Example, prepaid card, token devices, token generators, and the one-time passwords for the user to submit an authentication server. So next one is passphrase. This is basically a sequence of character that is longer than a password. It is basically longer than a password, thus a phrase, kind of phrase, like a paragraph. User entered this phrase into an application which transform the value into a virtual password. It helps us to transform the value into the virtual password. Let's move further. So these are the attacks against the password. Various attacks are electronically monitoring, assess the password file, brute force attacks, dictionary attacks, social engineering, shoulder surfacing. These all are the various attacks of the password. Brute force attacks like various attacks that are basically like hacking, we can say. These all are kind of that passwords. So let us discuss something you have. Which kind of things we have? Suppose we are accessing to any lock. At that time what we are having, like key we are having the smart card. Smart card are also known as RFID cards, that I will later on discuss with you in the proper description in the further slides. So keys, documents, token devices, memory cards, smart cards, all are there. So these are basically what? These are the possessions. Suppose we are having one building, we are having the papers of that building. That is what? That is a possession that we are having something. So in case of access control also, all the keys, smart cards and documents are also the possessions that we are having. So after that, another one is a token device. So token device is basically a security token is a peripheral device used to gain access to an electronically restricted source. The token is used in addition to or in place of password. It acts like an electronic key. As I told you that earlier, like if we are going to an ATM, we are accessing there and we are putting the pin, and that is what? That is basically a token. It is amount of a token. It is an electronic key that we have to access when we have to withdraw our money. So token device or password generator is usually a handheld device. It is basically a handheld device, has a LCD display and possibly a keypad. So इसके पास proper एक display we are having. So at that time we will enter our pin and proper we can work there and we can withdraw our money. So this is also kind of a assessing control system only. So let's further. These are various benefits and limitations of the token devices. Benefits are not vulnerable to electronic eavesdropping. Wiretapping, sniffing, provide two-factor authentication, and limitations are human error, battery limitations, token itself, environmental factors. So if we talk about the benefits, there are many benefits, like we just have to go and insert the card and put the pen and we can easily withdraw the money. Like we are having the unique system there. Like if we talk about the limitations, sometimes battery limitations might occur, sometimes human error occurs, sometimes pins don't work. So these are all the limitations. So after that, there are different types of token token devices. There are two types of token devices. One is synchronous and another one is asynchronous. Synchronous tokens are what? They are basically that token devices that authentication service by using time or a counter as a core piece of the authentication process. So a synchronous token is basically a synchronous token generating method employs a challenge response scheme to authenticate a user. It helps us to authenticate a user. First of all, we have to done the authentication process. In asynchronous, we have to authenticate ourselves. So let's discuss further. So this is a synchronous token. Every minute clock reading is encrypted with the secret key and display. This is one-time password. Whatever one-time password we have set, second we will read and secret key and along with the pin enters the data into the workstation. Then we will enter the data into the workstation. Third one is authentication servers knows secret keys of all cards by clock synchronizing with the cards. It verifies the enter data. So this is the procedure that the synchronous token. First of all, we will put the secret key there, then we will enter the pin that it will, then after that it will verify and synchronize that. Like after that further there is asynchronous token devices. So this is the procedure of asynchronous token devices. Challenge value displayed on workstation. User enter challenge value and pin into the token devices. User enter new value into the workstation. Value sent to authentication service or servers. Authentication service is expecting a specific value. User authenticate and allowed access to workstation. So you can see here. So first of all, there is a one normal display. Then user is using the pin. Then authenticate server will help to for that synchronous devices. Then after that move further. Here is a memory card. Memory card is also the one important thing. Like suppose we are having the IP cameras at the home. So we are assessing, that is also a kind of access control system. So their memory cards are used to hold the data, whatever we can record all the IP cameras, whatever record all the videos that are saved in the memory card. It is also help in the access control system. It hold the information but cannot process. A memory can hold the user authentication information so that the user only needs to type in a user ID or pin. Later on we can use the memory card in our mobile phones and we can see all the videos that are stored in the IP cameras. This is also used in access control system. After that, smart card. As I told you earlier, smart cards are basically electronic keys. For example, we are going to some hotel and when we want to access to our hotel room, their smart cards are used. Then smart cards is also a part of a electronic key. So various types of smart cards are there, contact and contactless. So number one is contact. Requires insertion into a smart card reader with a direct connection to a conductive micro module on the surface of the card. Through these physical contact points, transmission of commands, data and card status takes place. Contactless are require only close proximity to the reader. In case of contact, we just have to insert the card. In contactless, we don't have to insert, we have to enter the proximity to the reader. So after that, there are different smart card attacks. The attacks that are done by the smart card, for example, micro probing techniques, eavesdropping techniques, Trojan horse attacks, social engineering attacks. These all are the attacks of the smart cards. I will explain all these attacks in the further slides. So something you are. Special case of something you have. Unique personal attribute is analyzed, encompass all biometric techniques like fingerprint, retina scan, iris scan, hand geometry, facial scan. These all are something we know. So let us begin further. This is a keyboard dynamics. What is a keyboard dynamics? Basically, a keyboard dynamics is what look at the way a person type at the keyboard, also called typing rhythms. Keyboard dynamic measure two distinct variables, dwell time and flight time. Dwell time is the amount of time one holds a particular key. Flight time is the amount of time one moves between the key. Keyboard dynamic system can measure only keyboard's input up to the 1000 times per second. So it is also known as typing rhythms. Basically, whatever the typing rhythms means, the style of the typing we are having, that is also known as keyboard dynamics, and they are of two types, that is dwell time and flight time. So keyboard input up to only 1000 times per second. This is a voice print. You can see all the description related to the voice print. Voice print is basically a voice reference template is constructed. To construct, an individual must speak a set of phrases several times as the system builds the template. Suppose in the phone, sometimes we are unable to pick our phone. At that time, we just send the template to the customer that we are busy right now, we can call you back later. So these are what? These are basically a templates. Voice identification system incorporates several variables including pitch, dynamics and waveforms. These all are the waveforms that are shown in the picture with the yellow color. So let's move further. Facial scan. Everybody know nowadays what is facial scan. Suppose nowadays we are assessing the locks to our mobile phones. At that time facial scans are used. Incorporates two significant methods like detection, recognition. Detection involves locating the human face within an image. We show our face to the phone lock, and when we show the face, the lock is open. That is also one of kind of the assess control system with the help of advanced technology. The another one is recognition, is comparing the captured face to the other faces that have been saved and stored in the database. So whatever the access control devices recognized our face, it is stored in the database. After that, now let's talk about facial scan process. So this is all about the facial scan. Suppose number 1, scanner starts reading geometry of face, plotting feature on the grid. So this is the grid, like white one, there are all the plus signs. In this, our facial scan is stored. Points are transferred to the database with the algorithm of numbers. Then after that, one is match and found identity can be verified. And after that, it is verified. So now let's discuss about various types of access control. There are three types of access control. Number 1 is administrative, number 2 is technical, and last one is the physical control. So what are administrative controls? Administrative controls are those controls that define roles, responsibilities, policies and administrative functions to manage the control environment. Technical controls are what? That we use hardware and software technology to implement the access control. So physical controls are what? That ensure safety and security of the physical environment. Like all these are 3 controls. So let us discuss about all the controls in the description in the further slides. So number 1, administrative controls. So what are administrative controls? They ensure that technical and physical controls are understood and properly implemented. So whatever the technical and physical controls are there, they are properly implemented. Policies and procedures are there. Security awareness training is also there. Asset classification and controls are also there. Employment policies and practices like background checks, job rotations and separations of duties are there, because duties are divided in different parts. Account administration are there, account log monitoring are there, and reviews of audit trail is also there in this administrative controls. So let us move further. After that, there are technical controls. Technical controls, there are various technical controls like biometrics, smart card, tokens, access control list, violation reports, audit trials, network monitoring and intrusion detection. So as I told you earlier, biometric RFID cards are also known as smart cards. There are different tokens, there are different pins are there. There are various another kind of examples of technical controls. Let us discuss about physical controls. There are various physical controls like locked doors, restricted area, guards and dogs. Like nowadays there are lots of big companies where there are guards sitting outside. That are all basically a physical controls. That all the assessing system that are managed physically is known as physical controls. So let us discuss about the categories of access control. So there are various categories of access control like preventive, deterrent, detective, corrective, recovery, compensating, directive. So what are preventing? To avoid the incident, any incident that should be occurred, to avoid that we should use preventive. And deterrent, any discoverage incident, or detective means identity. Identity incidents is also called a detective. In case of correctivity, suppose any damage occur, anything occur at that time, correctivity is done. Recovery means any problem occurs at that time, we have recovered something, and that is known as recovery. Compensating means alternative control, to compensate something. And directive is a direct method that we used in the case of access control. So let us discuss some other points also. Administrative preventive controls. So these all are the Administrative preventive controls like policies and procedure, effective hiring practices, control termination process, security awareness, risk assessment and analysis, creating a security programs, separations of duty, that the duties are all divided, data classification is done, security awareness is done, hiring practices also there. After that, let us talk about administrative detective controls. What are these? These are job rotation, different responsibilities are shared among the users, inspection is done, incident response is done, use of auditors are there. So let us discuss technical preventive controls. What are they? Different passwords are also known as, biometrics are there, smart cards are there, as I have already discussed earlier in different slides about smart cards and biometrics. Database views are there, firewalls are there, ACLs are there, and antivirus is also known as. Now let's talk about technical detective controls. What are technical detective controls? That deals with the software or hardware. Suppose IDS, reviewing audit log, reviewing violation of clipping levels, forensics. So let us discuss about physical preventive controls. That are badges, guards and dogs. CCTV is also known as physically contive control. Fanches, locks, man traps, different locking computer cases are also known as physical preventive control. Removing floppy and CD-ROM devices, and further dislabelling USB ports. So let us discuss about physical detective controls. Motion detectors, intrusion detectors, video cameras, guard responding to an alarm, these all are physical detective controls. After that, access control devices. So nowadays different devices are there that with the help of advanced technology, different devices are there of access control. So these all are the devices. Number 1 is proximity reader, number 2 keypad read, biometric reader, multi-technology reader, request to exit motion, MAC logs are there, RFID cards are there, emergency release buttons are there. These all are the basically access control devices. With the help of these we can use various things. So let us discuss. Number 1 is RFID cards. RFID, the full form of RFID is radio frequency identification, is the wireless non-conduct the use of radio frequency electromagnetic. It is basically a wireless non-contact available technology of access control devices. So number 2 is, so this is basically this is the process of RFID cards. So suppose number first picture, there a girl having a card in the hand. So this is where we have to assess the card, that I have given you example earlier of the hotel room. When we go there, we insert the RFID card, all the lights are gone and we can open our room easily. So this is the form of RFID cards. They are basically a smart cards. So biometric system, a characteristics based system includes all the hardware, associated software and interconnecting infrastructure to enable the identification and authentication process. Use individual unique, like he scan the thumbs once and that is a uniquely thumb is scan, and each has its own disadvantage and advantages. Like these all are the basically hardware and software infrastructures. So see, fingerprints with the help of biometrics. So this way we can scan our fingerprints, like all the fingerprint is scanned. So see, every person fingerprint is unique. Most affordable and convenient method of verifying a person identity. The lines that create a fingerprints patterns are called ridges. See, all these lines are basically ridges, and space between ridges, these all spaces between the ridges are called valleys. So let's move further. Retina scan. This is all about retina scan. It is basically a technology map that capillary pattern of retina, 1.50 inches nerves on the back of the eye. See, these all are the back of the eye. These are proper accurate and many people are hesitant to use the devices. After that, another one is iris scan.